Hey, what's up everybody? It's Jordan from Pianote. So maybe you've heard all these things about this big, crazy musical concept called the circle of fifths. It's basically the most important musical invention since the tambourine. But if you don't know how to use it, it could actually be a little confusing finding ways to really apply it. It's like a spoon. Like, what are these things even for? So the way I like to use the circle of fifths is to make really creative chord progressions. So if you're a new piano player, maybe you've seen some of our lessons on the 1, 4, 5 progression. In this case, I'm just playing in the key of C, and my C chord becomes my 1 chord, my F chord becomes my 4 chord, and my G chord becomes my 5 chord. And there's just millions of songs that are written with those 3 chords. But what if I told you there's another way to think about how chords move together? To explain this, let's look at our 1 chord and our 5 chord. So C and G. The 1 chord and the 5 chord are like 2 peas in a pod. You hear it all the time in classical music like this. You know, the 5 chord always wants to land back on the 1. It's like this home base kind of rounding the bass back to home. But we could actually keep going with that 1, 5 chord movement around the circle of fifths, and it makes a whole other type of chord progression. So you could start at your 1 chord, just start in C, you can move up 5 notes to G, you can move up 5 more notes to D, and then you can move up 5 notes even further to A, and it just becomes this really cool movement of chords that just keeps on cycling. You can go through the whole circle with that kind of movement. So here's what I want you to try. I want you to try thinking about these chord movements in inversions. Here's our C chord. We're at the top of the circle in root position. If we want to get to our G chord nice and easy, all we got to do is take our 2 bottom notes and move them down to make the notes of G. So we move our E a whole tone down to D, and we move our C a semitone down to B. So there's our 5 chord, which is G major in first inversion. In our next movement, we're going to take our thumb up to D, because that's our next chord. And now I want you to take your G note down 1 semitone to play F sharp, and your B note down 1 whole tone to play A. And now you have this chord. So that is our D major chord in second inversion. So we got C, G, D. Sounds pretty sweet. And now we're going to go to A. So how do we do that? Put your thumb in the left down on A, and then take your middle note here, your D note, and move that down 1 semitone to C sharp, and take your F sharp note, move it down 1 full tone to E. Okay, so there's our A major in root position. So again, we have our C in root position, down to G in first inversion, to D in second inversion, down to A in root position. So one little tip that I can give you to make this even more simple is each chord movement that you're going to do takes 1 semitone movement jump and 1 full tone movement jump. Okay? So look, my B is going down a full tone to hit A, and my G is going down a semitone to hit F sharp. So you got a kind of bucket list to check off with each chord movement to make sure that you're doing the chords right. All right, so that's a really easy way to use the circle of fifths to actually make music. It's less about thinking about this crazy theory. That's useful too, but if you want to write songs, if you want to think about chords in a whole new way, now you know how you can take laps around the circle of fifths with this cool chord progression. So have fun playing it, and check out our channel for even more great lessons.